In the background, giving you See Me, the Tugela Ferry coming in with Sanal musician Bessie Gebona. Higher and higher. We most definitely going all the way up at exactly 24 minutes after 2 o'clock, 35 and a half, till we take it to the top of the third hour. Noko ke sisisondela kula ntsimbi yokubana besithathe sinikezele kuluthando mnandi. But still, we have, I'm not so sure bangaba ke Mr. Ngangu bangaba sisenaye on the line. Are you there?
I'm here, ma'am.
Stunning. I want us to also pick up the conversation, but just before we do that, kwabo ke mhlambi ke basanokuthi xinga xesha, we are in conversation with Mr. Sivuyile, who is the founder and managing director of Share, the Fertility Group. And one thing about Kaling Kambani Yaikuchilo Bangabaki has a great enthusiasm for socio-economic development as well as sustainable job creation. Now, quick one as we keeping this conversation flowing. Ndifuna nabanye ke bakwazi ukukhawuleza bakulandele on social media. Singakufumana phi?
On Instagram, I am SIR_SVG. It's the same for Twitter. Then on Facebook, Sivuyile SVG Ngang.
Ncanga. Ndifuna
Yes.
ke sive uba ngaba ke bakhona nabanye abantu osebenzisana nabo, because we've been hearing that ke you're one hard-working man. I-support structure sakho ngobani?
Support structure in business or personal?
Let's take it for
In
business
which
and also
capacity?
personal. Like a civic kuzo zombini.
Okay. So in business, I have probably like 2 or 3 companies that mentor me, including the company directors that mentor me, because it's very important to find people to mentor you, stuff to
Yes,
bounce
yes.
back on, and people to give you advice that have walked this journey before you. And I'm lucky enough that out of my 3 mentors, the first one is my mother. And my mother used to run her own company. She used to work with Eskom. She even did the rollout of the CFL light bulbs when they were changing all our light bulbs to the energy savers. She was part of that contract. So I'm lucky enough to have her 24/7. And luckily enough, she's also my spiritual guide. Because in business, you need that spiritual side to be intact and you need to be
Definitely.
strong. Then my other 2 is Mr. Ndutula. He also runs a company there in East London. Very successful man, very driven and family man. And I just learned from him to have multiple streams of income and so
Yes.
forth. Yes, and my last mentor, who's also my pastor, is Ulwazi Tegeta at Downtown Christian Center. So that's basically my support structure in total.
In total. I love it. Ndiyithanda ke laa point of how one needs to have a mentor. Umntu ozawukwazi ukukuxelela about the journey that they've been through instead of just starting something, to hear uba ngaba ke babeqale njani na. I definitely love that point. Now, ingaba mhlambi akhona amathuba okusebenza apho kuwe in terms of maybe for ulutsha, are there some internships or learnerships ezikhoyo ngalo eli xesha?
Not at the moment. At the moment, we actually building on all fronts. So what's happening right now is that there's a company that I have business partners in. We're opening up a place to supply the automotive industry with small parts. Small parts being small parts that need spray painting. So our company is actually going to spray paint the small parts for OEMs, companies like Ford, Nissan, Isuzu, and so forth.
Oh, let's not name
So,
let's not name these companies, big companies. Yes,
so
ezaa nkampani izinkulu ewe.
so those we're actually installing our equipment in a what you call a factory in Roslyn. That's in Pretoria. And then also we're building an app. So we have a tech company that's currently working on building our app. We started this month. It's a company called Zakele Technologies, also owned by 2 closer guys. It's a company in the CBD of Johannesburg. So we're building an app of mine called Duzula. So at the moment, we don't have any posts available, but we soon will have. And we're also working on something that we're going to open up in East London also to support companies like Mercedes-Benz. So we're quite busy at the moment, but we're still at the infant stages and actually, That's
No,
it.
ndiyayithanda mna le nto yenzayo. One thing about me, I'm definitely really excited when it comes to izinto ezidibanisa nemisebenzi. I've been mentioning on the show namhlanje uba ngaba ke we are already 24 days into the year, and abantu abaninzi mhlawumbi bahleli phezu kwezatifiketi zabo, especially ulutsha bekhangela imisebenzi, behambe benkqonkqoza kule minyango bengavuleleki kabanye. So when we have such interviews, in fact conversations, with abantu who have been through this path and are opening amathuba, because one thing I know about what you're doing now at this moment in Johannesburg is iminyango emininzi for so many families. It's going to be able to put the lights on. I'm going to be using your terms. So I'm loving this conversation that you're giving me. Namhlanje ndingekakuphunguli uzawusishiya nomyalezo thini. I want us to encourage ulutsha olukhoyo ngaleli xesha, especially ke nabo ke basalufumana the results. Sibakhuthaza kamnandi.
Okay. So the first people I actually want to speak to are the parents, because I think this thing, we 70% youth unemployment, 50% total national unemployment, and everyone is worrying as to what's going to happen next. And parents are even worried as to how do they guide their children through these times. And the one thing that parents need to do is just support their children in whatever they choose to do, or in the path that they know best, because there's always this notion that parents shouldn't really, well, it's our generation, it says parents shouldn't push children to fulfill their dreams or tell them what career to choose. But I can safely say and tell them that do what you know best and what you think best. If you think your child should be an accountant, if you think your child should be an engineer, support them, push them in that direction. And if they do have their own ambitions and their own talents that they want to pursue, whether it's to sing, whether it's to be an entrepreneur, they will finally go down that path no matter what happens. Like when you're born to do something, you're going to do it. So parents shouldn't really worry. They should just support their kids. And the youth, we need to remain hopeful. But remaining hopeful doesn't only end at being hopeful. We also need to be on high alert for opportunities. Opportunities come when you know that business is problem solving. So once you are in a situation or you're in your area, try and look at the problems that affect your people. And once you start identifying the problems, then you need to work on getting solutions. And once you start doing that, that's when you will be able to come up with opportunities, because at the moment we need people that are going to create employment. And employment comes very easy when you look at problems and you find solution to those problems. The same thing that I did to start my app called Uzula, because I realized a problem in Tanzania that we are unable to navigate. There's ways, there's Google Maps, they all can't work in Tanzania because there's no street names. So then I worked at a solution in solving the problem of navigating in Tanzania. Then from fixing that problem, I realized that, oh, this is not only my township's problem. There's actually other townships, there's actually other rural areas. And then we started working throughout the municipality. And hence now we're creating the app and we're upscaling to the rest of South Africa.
Oh, this is amazing. My goodness, from Mdantsane all the way to the world. Svej Inene, God has given you so much, and I love how you're just pouring it out to Isizweni. Before we close it, any last words from your side?
My last words would be, guys, you need to get in touch with your spiritual side, because there's so many attacks at the moment to the youth and actually everyone. We're going through so many problems, and you need to strengthen yourself by praying and actually reading the Word of God. It gives you so much clarity on life, and it gives you such a solid foundation so you can deal with your anxiety, you can deal with your mental health. So that will be my closing words to the youth and the parents.
And before we really close it, I'm talking about the spiritual side, which is definitely important, especially when you're doing business, because zininzi izinto that always come and affect you and may put you down. Xa kufika mhlambi ke elo xesha linjalo, especially uthi thina lutsha, ungasikhokhela usinike eyiphi verse eBhayibhileni that always puts you on top?
Sure, I have so many. But the verse, what makes me strong spiritually is understanding that imeko yami ingatshintsha at any time. So imeko lena uyijongileyo apha kuwe nalapha phandle ingatshintsha at any time. Therefore yona ayonyani. Into eyinyani lizwi likaThixo. Ilizwi likaThixo lithini? It tells you that it will never change and it will never lie. So imeko yakho ingaxoka, imeko yakho ingatshintsha, abantu around you might change, abantu around you might lie, but the only thing that will remain truthful is the word of God. And so therefore, if the word of God says, I'll give you a future and a hope, then you will have a future and a hope. And if the word of God says, greater the things to come than the things you face today, then you should rest assured that whatever you're facing, it's nothing compared to what God is going to do with your life. But the only thing you need is patience and faith.
Definitely going with the faith. It will come to pass. Thank you so much for joining me, and cannot wait to have you very soon in studio rather than getting the audiovisual. Hopefully, when you're here to launch and everything, we'll definitely have you in studio.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We were in conversation right about in the kind of now man like Mr. Nganga. Oh my goodness, I love how let me just leave it there. All I can say is that when it comes to business and isn't all that you want to definitely have in your life, if you have patience and you definitely have faith in God, thank you so much, man, to everyone who pulled through and was listening. I have Usiji, I see you, and also I'm joined by Butulani Ndanga Sitikesvij. I Jonga, one thing about Usvij Jonga, dimthandela ukukwazi uthetha and being able to see imeko yendawo ethile ayibona uba ngaba angakwazi uyijika, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing. I'm talking about Usvij, man, from here in his own home township, Mdadzane to the world, because that is exactly what he's been doing. But nonetheless, man, also I did have a comment that I quickly also want to quickly read at this moment coming in. I also had all the way from Mr. Atino Njogweni Sichoke and Ubangabagosfij, what a man, Yamadoda. So thank you so much, man, to everyone for pulling through and looking at time. It is exactly 36 minutes after 2 o'clock, 23 and a half till we take it to the third hour. Thank you so much, man, to everyone for joining me today. No,